Hi friends, welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward. Today on the podcast, let's talk about the COVID blues. For those of you that are experiencing the COVID blues, I want you to know it's a real thing. We're now a year into a pandemic and a year that's filled with so much global turmoil, financial challenges, social unrest, political unrest, and everything in between. And so it's a lot. It's really a lot to deal with. So in this episode of the podcast, I want to talk about how it feels, what we can do to combat the ways that we're feeling, and are there some strategies and techniques for how we can start looking beyond this feeling of depression and anxiety, and how we might be able to start to shift the tide a little bit so that we're not feeling so buried under the current of what's going on. So what do I mean by the COVID blues? Okay, a lot of us are feeling this sense of distress and anxiety and depression, and in general feeling down about the situation that we're in. We're questioning a lot of the things that we're going through. We are feeling that some of the life choices that we've made may not be what serves us anymore. We're feeling that the industry that we're in, or the personal situations that we're in, may in fact no longer fit us. And we're feeling the weight of what that moment is presenting us with, and a little bit helpless. All of these things in normal cases would perhaps feel a little bit more manageable. But this has been going for some time, and we are feeling a little helpless. We're feeling overwhelmed, and we're feeling that this is perhaps not going to end. So what I want to start by telling you is that this pandemic will be over one day. It's not going to be over soon. Anyone who's telling you it's going to be over soon is perhaps somebody that you should listen to a little bit less. By all indications, at the very, very best case scenario, we need to be making sure that a lot of people have enough immunity against the multitude of strains that are out there, so that we are not overwhelming our healthcare systems and not transmitting this disease as much as we currently are. That's not going to be this year. As much as people are going to tell you that it is going to be this year, if you just look at the way that the vaccines have been rolled out, they are way behind schedule with the rate of production and the rate that they're vaccinating people. So this year is not going to be the year that this finishes. But I don't want that to be discouraging for you. There is a lot that we can do to start moving our mood forward and the way that we're feeling a little left or right of center, so that it's in a direction that makes you feel a little more in control. Now, if you're a business owner and you are assessing, or at least asking yourself the question, I don't think this is worth it anymore. I'm hearing that a lot. I'm hearing a lot of people questioning whether the stress and anxiety of owning a business during COVID that's had just struggled with the opens and the closes and the shutdowns and the you can dine in and you can no longer dine in, you can only do takeout, no, you have to close altogether. Having to keep up with it is rather stressful. And for a lot of people, they thought that this was just going to be a few months tops. And having to deal with the stress of running a business in these challenging times, as well as having to support staff during these challenging times, can just all feel like an elephant is sitting on your chest. Now, I really, really need to reiterate, if you are experiencing this kind of anxiety, you are experiencing this kind of depression or overwhelm, first of all, you are not imagining it. It is real, and you will, I hope, you will get through this. You will move on. But in order to do that, we need to put in place some healthy boundaries and some healthy practices that will help you get there. We need a plan, is what I'm saying. And you alone can be the only person that knows the best and most effective strategy for getting you out of the current situation that you're in. But I'm going to give you some suggestions for how I deal with when I'm feeling overwhelmed and when I'm feeling utterly intimidated by the path ahead of me because I can't see the end of the tunnel. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And believe me, friends, this has been something that's been recurring for me throughout my life. So it's something that I've learned to manage and grow through, and I no longer suffer from the depression that has been debilitating for me in previous parts of my life. So I thought that I would share some of my strategies for getting out of this feeling of overwhelm and depression and anxiety, in the hope that it might help you come up with some strategies of your own. But again, the most important place to start from is to simply acknowledge that this is real for you. This is how you're feeling. Regardless of what anybody tells you, you are valid for feeling these emotions. Okay, the next thing that I want you to do is start considering what some healthy boundaries are. So healthy boundaries come from our assertiveness training, our Map It Forward assertiveness training. And why I say that this is important is because no doubt a lot of what's going on is the overwhelm that's coming from outside of you. The overwhelm of all the news, the overwhelm of all the statistics and the numbers and everyone giving you their opinion of what's going on. COVID's a hoax, COVID's not a hoax, it's Russia, it's China, it's Trump, it's this, it's that. Create some boundaries that turns down the noise. Because once you turn down the noise, you're able to do the next thing. And that's just sit with yourself and deeply acknowledge what you're experiencing. And there's a mechanism in your brain that when you can say the things that you're experiencing and feeling out loud, your brain processes them in a different way. So being able to name the feelings that you're going through, being able to name the overwhelm that you're experiencing as a business owner or as a professional in the coffee industry is really, really important. The next thing that I want you to do is to start practicing gratitude. And I know that this may sound a little corny, but this is the number one thing that really taught me how to get out of and stay out of depression. And I wasn't able to start with really big things to be grateful for. I had to start with tiny little things. And when you're feeling overwhelmed, it has to be the tiny things that you start with, because anything more than that is just too much. So being able to be grateful for the fact that you fed yourself today, or grateful for a cup of coffee that tasted delicious and you brewed it really well, or being able to have connected with somebody as you walked past them. Keeping yourself safe is something to be grateful for. Smiling and feeling the need to want to smile. These are important gratitude points to practice. Once you can get into the habit of being able to be grateful for the little things that you've afforded yourself and practicing that every day, saying it out loud. I have a practice where I say it to myself in the mirror while I'm getting ready or while I'm doing my hair, whatever it is. I talk to myself a lot. And I'm grateful for these little things, and I pick moments as I'm going for my gratitude walk every day. I'm grateful for the people in my life. I'm grateful for getting myself safe. I'm grateful for a whole bunch of stuff. But I have to be grateful to myself for taking ownership of being responsible for making myself grateful and creating things that I can be grateful for. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to consider all the things that you've achieved and that some of that stuff may no longer be relevant to you. Do you still want to be in the coffee industry? Do you still want to own that coffee business that you're owning? Is a career trajectory that you're currently on still relevant to you? And if it's not, I want you to sit with that truth. This is a moment in your history, in my history, in the world's history, where we get to sit down and be present with what it is that we are, what it is we've created, and what it is we choose to be. Now, none of this is going to solve everything for you, but it is a starting point that I hope gives you something to ponder so that you can move beyond the COVID blues. If you need a supportive group to be a part of, to help you through this, take a look at our group coaching sessions. And they have been a wonderful, wonderful support network for people who have been experiencing the COVID blues. You can go to mapperforward.org/group coaching and get more information there. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Be safe, be kind to yourself, and have an amazing rest of your day.